So, good evening, one and all. So, this is our, I think, gate class number 16 on the digital circuits. Mainly, we have started the multiplexer, then we have seen how to implement higher order muxes using lower order muxes. Then we have also seen how to minimize the logic expressions. Then we have started with implementation of given logical expression. Okay, and we have also studied in our last class multiplexer implementation table. Okay, so we'll see now few examples of implementation logical expressions. In the previous class, what we have studied, if you are going to implement the logical expressions, so you need to have how many variables you have to select. You have to take the select lines, okay, and connect to the select lines to the MSB variables, and remaining variable is nothing else your input to the mux. The function will be the function of the remaining variable will be your input to the mux. We have decided like this. Okay, now what you need to do mainly, if the question will be given to you to implement the logical expressions, but as not defined by your own way to take the select line. Okay, let's say in the exam it's given to you, let's say AC is my select line. So what you need to do, okay, instead of the MSB bit is A and B, so he has been asked to you AC is the select line. So see here, we are going to do one of the problem on it, like implementation of logical expression only, the same thing, the continuation of previous lecture, implementation of, so which is actually nothing else, the fourth bit we are doing, logical expression. So let's say my question will be here to express the implement. Actually the question is f of a comma b comma c, which is given to me summation of m 1 2 3 5 6 and 7. Okay, so what you need to do, as I have told you, if this is the question will be given to you, in order to implement using mocks, implement it using given function, implement using 4 cross 1 mux, implement using 4:1 mux. So what you need to do, you just know that it's actually 3 variable function. So obviously you also know that, so in the question what you need to do here, 3 things may be asked. One is AB as select line. Okay, maybe you will be asked also AC as select line. Okay, next, it will be asked you maybe another question will be BC as select line. So these are the possible questions will be come in the exam. Okay. So what I have told you, if number of select line will be chosen, then what I have told, the 2 MSB bits will be taken as select line and remaining input variable is left out, whatever may be, which is actually the function of input to the mux. Okay, but here if the question is not given, they have defined their own select line. Let's say AC BC will be your select line. Then what you have to do actually, that I am going to explain you. So see here, let's say I am going to do the solution for the first bit, which is nothing else, my AB as select line. Okay, AB as select line. See here if it is AB as select line, obviously what it would be, you have to connect S1 and S0 because I require 4:1 mux. 4:1 mux means obviously 2 select line. So what you have to do, the 2 select lines will be S1 S0, connect to AB, connect to AB. Okay, and the remaining variable will be input to the mux. Input to the mux will be the function of, the remaining variable. What is the remaining variable here? The remaining variable is here C. Okay, so accordingly you can do. So you would be having with you actually 4:1 mux. Okay, 4:1 mux is with you. Okay, the select lines which are actually S1 and S0. So this will be AB as select line, it's already given. So it's already, you have to connect A to the S1 and B to the S0. And here your 4 inputs, I0, I1, I2, I3, I0, I1, I2, I3. And finally there is a output which is F, which gives us actually summation of M, summation of 1 2 3 5 6 7. This is the function should arrive here. Okay, so these are my I0, I1, I2, I3. So already you have seen that the select lines will be connected to my AB and input to the mux. This input to the mux is nothing else, which is actually the function of the remaining variable C. Okay, here AB is select line, obviously the remaining variable is C because it's a 3 variable function, which is A, B, C are the variables. Okay, so input to the mux you have to find out, which is actually function of remaining variable C. So see here what I am going to do, I have to describe the mocks implementation table. In order to do that, we have to describe the mocks implementation table. As I told you, how to describe this mocks implementation table? Very simple. Whatever the select line connected, you just write down in the horizontal way, and in the vertical way the remaining variable. Okay, so this is the way. So as we know that A B, there will be possibly 4 different combinations: A bar, B bar, A bar B, A B bar, and finally A B. Anything else not possible. Okay, these are the 4 different possible combinations. And for C there are 2 different combinations, C bar and C. So what you need to do, I have told you already, this is the mocks implementation table. You need to find out these positions. What are these positions? This position is nothing else: A bar, B bar, C bar. We can write down this is 0. This will be A bar, B, C. You can write down this is 0, 1, A bar, B, C bar, 0, 1, 0. So this is actually 2. Next, A, B bar, C bar. This is 0, 1, 1, actually 3. A, B, C bar, which is nothing else, 1, 1, 0, is 6. So this is A bar, B bar, C, which is nothing else here, 1. This will be your A bar, B, C, which is 3. Sorry, A bar, B, C. A bar, B, C means 0, 1, 1, 3. And this is what A, B bar, C bar. A, B bar, C bar is 0, sorry, 1, 0, 0. This is 4. Okay, this is 4. Next, this one is A, B bar, C, which is 5. Next, A, B, C, which is 7. So we have got all these minterm positions. Now what you need to do, whichever minterm is present in the function, I am going to implement the function. What is the function? My function is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So I have to implement the function summation of m 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Whichever the function is present in the function which you are going to implement, just start rounding it. So what is that? 1 is present, start rounding. 2 is present, 3 is present, 5 is present, 6 is present, and 7 is present. Okay, next what you need to do, after that you have to find out input. You have to find out input to the mocks. Okay, the input to the mocks is nothing else, input to the mocks, which is nothing else, this one. So what you need to do, if only one is rounded, I have told you what you need to do, the corresponding position of the C in terms of C, in terms of the corresponding position is actually C, and this one both are rounded, so answer is 1. So here only one is rounded. What is the corresponding C? This is C, and here both are rounded 1. So what will be my final input to the mux? My input to the mux is I0 is this one, I1 is this one, I2 is this one, and I3 is finally this one. Okay, so you can easily now draw this mocks implementation of this particular function. The function is having output f, which is summation of m 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so here the select lines we have already selected as A and B, and these are my inputs, which are actually I0. I0 will be your C, I1 will be 1, and I2 is again C. If it is I2 is C, you can connect it like this, and I3 is again 1. I3 is again 1 means you can connect it like this. Okay, do you all understand what you need to do? This is C, this is 1. Okay, so this is my 4:1 mux. Which one actually given here, this function is getting implemented in this particular 4:1 mux. Okay, any doubt on this, friends? Do you all understand? Now next part. Okay, so let's say the same question, the second bit is given to here. Let's say the select line is AC as select line. Okay, AC as select line. So what you need to do in that case, the function, same function, summation of m 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. You are going to implement this 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 using AC as select line. Here it is predefinedly given to me, AC will be my select line instead of AB. So what you need to do here, obviously you can see that it's given already to me AC as select line. So I'll be purely defined over here, my AC is actually select line. So obviously I will take, this is, let's say, the mux after implementation. Let's say this is my 4:1 mux. Okay, So here it's 4:1 mux means these are two select lines S1, S0, and AC select line is given already, and this is the function will be implemented here. Obviously, there are four inputs I0, I1, I2, and I3. So obviously, if AC is select line, obviously my input to the mux is what? Input to the mux is nothing else, the function of remaining variable, which is B. Am I correct? So all these inputs, maybe it will be in the form of B or 0 or 1, it will come in this way. Okay, so what you need to do for that case? For that case, you need to take AC as select line. So if you implement this mux implementation table, how it look like? As I told you, the mux implementation table is nothing else. My AC will be in the horizontal way, and my B, which is actually the remaining variable, will come at the vertically. So see over here, if it is AC, what are the different combinations possible? A bar, C bar, A bar, C, A, C bar, and finally AC. Okay. Similarly here for B, what are the different variables? B bar and B. Okay. Next, find out the particular minterm positions of it. What you have to do for A bar, C bar, B bar. So these are the different positions: A bar, C bar, B bar, and this is A bar, C bar, B. Okay, so if it is A bar, C bar, B bar, what is a minterm position? Minterm position is 0. So it is 0, 0, 1. So minterm position is 1. Next, so this is A bar, sorry, A C bar. No, it's wrong. So what you have to do? You have to do it properly, student. This is wrong. So what you need to do here? So this is actually position of A bar, B bar, C bar. Okay, this is actually position of A bar, B, C bar. Okay, this is actually position of A bar, B bar, C. This is actually position of A bar, B, C. This is A, B bar, C bar. This is A, B, C bar. This is A, B bar, C. This is A, B, C. Do you all understand? So what next? What you need to do? You need to find out these positions. So this is your 0, 0, 0. So position is 0. So this is 0, 1, 0. Position is 2. This is 0, 0, 1 is 1. This is 0, 1, 1, 3. This is 1, 0, 0, 4. This is 1, 1, 0, 6. This is 1, 0, 1, 5. This is 1, 1, 1, 7. So do you understand how I have got these positions? If my select line will get changed, then depending upon the minterm positions will obviously get changed. Okay. So next, what you need to do? You need to take this function, which is summation of m 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 6, 7. Okay. These are my minterms. So I just need to round it up. What I have to do? Whichever is present in the function. 0 is present, no. 1 is present. Next 2 is present. Next 3 is present. Next 5 is present. 6 and finally 7. Then what you need to do? How to find out input to the mux? The input to the mux would be mine will be obtained from here, input to the mux, which is actually the function of B or 0 or 1. So what do you get here? Actually here only one round. So what is the corresponding value of it? Is B. So here both are actually rounded. So 1. Here only one rounded. So what is the corresponding value in B? B. So here both are rounded. This is 1. So very simple. This is the way you can find out input to the mux. And finally you can draw the mux circuit with this particular A and C is your select line. Okay. Do you all understand? So these are my 4 inputs over here, and these are my 2 select lines, 4:1, and this is my 1 output line, which is actually the function which gives me summation of m 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So finally what I will get here? I0, I1, I2, I3. So this is my select line S1, S0. As I told you, this is nothing else my AC select line. My I0 is B1, B1. Understand? This is the way you can design your 4:1 mux circuit. Okay. Any doubt on this, students? Please let me know any doubt. So this is the way we can actually implement the logical expressions. Okay. So you can see this is the actually the thing here. Okay. So here given function is given to you. What you can do, you can either take any select lines, okay, to implement this. So here I have taken AC select line. Depending upon this, my position of these minterms get changed. Okay. So see here what you can do if you will having the same question. Let's say I'm going to implement the same question with BC as select line. Let's say third bit of it, BC as select line. So at that time, what you have to do, you know that our select is line is getting changed over here. Okay. So obviously, as we know that my select line gets changed, obviously my mocks implementation table is going to change. So how my mocks implementation table looks like? So as I told, whatever the select line will be there, the mocks implementation table in that BC will come in the horizontal way, and the remaining variable which will come in the A, which is actually vertical way of the mocks implementation table. So if BC has select line, obviously S1 and S0 will be connected to B and C, and remaining input to the mocks will be your the remaining of the function of the remaining variable A. Okay, so this will be find out from the mocks implementation table. Do you all understand? So very simple. So see here it is BC. So obviously there are 4 different combinations you can expect from BC: B bar C, B, C bar, and BC. So these are the 4 different combinations. Similarly, if this is A, which is actually having again 2 different combinations, A bar and A. Okay, so what is the particular position of it? This is A bar, B bar, C bar. This is A bar, B bar, C. This is A bar, B, C bar. This is A bar, B, C. This is A, B bar, C bar. This is A, B bar, C. A, B, C bar, A, B, C. So according to this, my midterm position gets changed actually. Okay, how is it? Just say here. This is A, B bar, C bar. My position will be 0. This will be 1, 0, 0 means 4. This will be 0, 0, 1 means 1. This will be 1, 0, 1 means 5. This will be, sorry. So this will be 0, 1, 0 means 2. This will be 1, 1, 0 means 6. This will be 0, 1, 1 means 0, 1, 1, 3. This will be 7. So now what you have to do, these are the min-term positions. See how the min-term position gets changed depending upon actually select line. If select line will get changed, the mocks implementation table, the min-term position is obviously going to change. So see here, what I am doing, the input to the mocks I have to find out now, which is actually the function of A or 0 or 1. So here, what are the min-terms present in my question? My min-terms are actually summation of M. So it's not 0. It's starting from actually 1. The minterms are actually 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. So you can just has to round up. Here 1 is present, just round it up. 2 is present, 3 is present, 5 is present, 6 is present, 7 is present. Do you all understand what are the things are present for BC? So next, what you need to do, you just need to find out the input to the mocks. So the input to the mocks is nothing else. If both are not present, then 0. Input to the mocks is 0. Both are present, input to the mocks is 1. If both are present, input to the mocks is 1. Here also input to the mocks is 1. So here all the input to the mocks are 1. Okay. So do you all understand? Then what to do is here how to design it? It's very simple. You just has to take 4:1 mocks. This is my 4:1 mocks. Okay. 4:1 mocks. In this case, these are the select lines S1, S0, which will be connected to, obviously it's given here B and C, BC as select line. And my inputs are actually I0, I1, I2, I3, I0, I1, I2, I3. And finally the output F, which is summation of M, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So what is the input to the mocks? It's 0. 0 means obviously I can take it as a 0 here. And these all are actually 1. I've just taken like this. Okay, I have sorted all these things to one while, and I have connected to the logic 1. Okay, this is the circuit which implements this particular function. Do you all understand, students, what is happening here? It's actually, if my select line is getting changed, then obviously my the combination to the input to the mocks is getting changed. Okay, and the combinations of the minterms is getting changed in the mocks implementation table. So always you see here, always you need to understand here that I have to check what is my select lines. According to that, I have to find out the minterm positions in the mocks implementation table. Then finally input to the mocks can be find out, which is actually function of the remaining variable which is not present in the select lines. Okay, do you all understand now? So very simple. So what you need to do, one important question we'll do here. So which actually came in the JTO 2009. So JTO 2009, what is the question? Question is like this: F, which is pi m 0147. Okay. So what you need to do here, you need to implement this function. What is the given? Implement the function, implement the POS function, okay, using 4x1 mux. So there are a lot of 4x1, four options are there. You need to choose those. Okay. So what you have to do first, if this type of question comes into the picture, what you have to do, students? First, the solution will be, this is the question given in the POS form. Okay, you need to implement the POS function using 4x1 mux. Obviously it's given in the POS form, so you know that how to find out the SOP. Am I correct, students? So first, convert it into the min-term expression. First step will be convert the given key POS equation, POS logical function, okay, into the min-term expression or SOP expression, min-term expression or SOP expression, okay, or SOP. So you know that how this is actually how many? 7. 7 means highest min-term is 7, means 1 1 1. This obviously the function is actually a 3 variable function. Do you all agreed with me? If 3 variable function, obviously there is m0 m1 up to m7, total 8 number of min-terms possible, okay, if it is 3 variable. So obviously how to find out the min-term expression of it? Min-term expression I can find out, which is summation of m, which are not present in the max terms. Actually those are the min-term expressions. So obviously see here 2 is not present, 3 is not present, 5 and 6. So these are actually your min-term expressions. Okay, now you know that how to implement it. Actually, as you know that it's not given anything, means you can take, this is a function of ABC, which is summation of m 2 3 5 6. Now you can implement it using 4:1 mux easily. How? You can take, if nothing is given, just take AB as select line, AB as select line. Okay, now you can easily do this. How you can do? If you have AB as select line, then your mux implementation table is nothing else. The horizontal line will be AB, okay, and C will be the remaining variable, which is it, which actually is the input to the mux will become from this function C. So now if AB are there, then A bar B bar, A bar B, AB and AB bar and AB. So these are the particular 4 combinations can be possible. For C there are C bar and C, 2 different combinations. Then you can write down those min-term positions over there. So how you can find out? This is actually A bar, B bar, C bar. This is A bar, B, C bar, A, B bar, C bar, A, B, C bar. So this is A bar, B bar, C, A bar, B, C, A, B bar, C, A, B, C. So what are the min-term positions in this mux implementation table? It's nothing else. This is 0, this is 1, this is 0 1 0 2, 0 1 1 3 4 5 6 7. Now what is the function is given here? The function is nothing else, my summation of m, which is actually 2 3 5 6. So I am going to implement that in the actually mux. So 2 3 5 6 means obviously whatever the present in this min terms, so you just start rounding it. So 2 3 5 and 6. Then you can easily find out what is input to the mux here. Input to the mux will be, so here nothing is rounded, so 0. Here both are rounded, it's 1. Here only one rounded, what is the corresponding C? It's C. Here only one rounded, what is the corresponding to C? Is C bar. So this is my input to the mux. So the implementation would be look like this. So this is my 4:1 mux. Okay, this is my 4:1 mux, which is having obviously 4 inputs: I0, I1, I2 and I3, I0, I1, I2 and I3. And these are the select lines which are S1 and S0. This is my output, which is summation of M, summation of 2 3 5 6. Okay, summation of M 2 3 5 6. So obviously, can this be also pi of M 0 1 4 7? Obviously yes. Okay, am I correct? Whatever I have implemented here, that is also same pi m of 0.0147. Okay, now you can just put those S1 S0 because I have taken here AB as select line. So you just has to connect AB as select line here, AB. And what are the input to the mux? I0 is 0, I1 is 1. This is both are actually, no, not both. This one is C, another one is C bar, I think. Yeah. So yeah. So here it is C, I2 is C, I3 is C bar. Okay. So this is my implementation of this particular pi. So this came in JTO exam. Okay. So do you all understand? So there are many options will be there. A will be, let's say this option, B will be something different is given here. So C will be different, A, B will be with a different select line also will be given. Okay. So you need to check it out how is actually getting expressed this particular function or not by using this way. Okay, so you need to draw the mux implementation table, that is important. Okay, so next part we'll move to the next chapter actually. So one of the very important concept, and surely many questions will come from this, hazard. So this is very practical point of view. Okay, so what is hazard? Hazard means nothing else, the unwanted change and at the output. Hazard means nothing else here, unwanted change at the output. So you are never expecting such a particular output over there, but because of something, okay, some unwanted change will occur, and finally will be encounter a wrong information or wrong output over there. So mainly hazard occurs due to the propagation delay of the logic circuit. Okay, mainly the hazard occurs mainly due to the propagation delay, which is nothing else, tau PD. Okay, propagation delay, tau PD. In some books they will write down TPD, in some books they will write down capital TPD, due to the propagation delay of the logic circuit. Okay, what is propagation delay? I have already told you. What is TPD? TPD is nothing else here, the output, when the output occurs, if you input you are giving now, after how much time it takes delay to get the output, that is the propagation delay. Okay, propagation of that particular input by that particular logic circuit is called propagation delay. How much time it takes to propagate that input to the output. Okay, so do you all understand now what is TPD? Now let's say the question I am giving here, how would be the questions you can expect from this for the given circuit? That's the question. For the given circuit, determine the output waveform. When no propagation delay. If there is no propagation delay. Okay, so there is no TPD. TPD is 0, let's say 0 nanosecond or something. Okay, so no propagation delay. So you need to draw the output of this particular circuit. So this is my circuit. Please try to understand, very important concept I am telling. This is A, this input is X, and this is my output Y. So what is asked here, actually this TPD here, this gate at 0 propagation delay. 0 means whenever I will give input here, immediately at the same time I will get output over here. Okay, that is called 0 propagation delay. Okay, so see here, let's my input A is like this. So I'm going to draw it. Please try to understand, very important concept. Okay, let's say I am going to draw here. So how I am drawing, just check here. So this is my A, let's say. So this is my A, which is 0 for few seconds and 1 after that completely. Okay, so what you can expect X over here, what is asked actually from the given circuit, determine the output waveform. Output waveform means obviously I have to find out the waveform for Y. Am I correct? That is my output. Am I correct? So what is X? If A is 0, X is what? As a inverted input. So I can say that my inverted input will be like this. Since there is no propagation delay, I would expect my result as much as possible easily. So here A is there, A is at 0 nanosecond. So X is also can appear 1 at 0 nanosecond. okay, because there is no propagation delay of the logic circuits. Okay, so I'll be expecting like this. So what is my y over here? My y will be nothing else, it's a AND operation between these two output waveforms. So it will be what actually, if any of the input is 0, my AND operation will give me output always 0. So this is my 0. Okay, do you all understand? This is called static 0. Static 0. What is my static 0? It's always, it's not changing, always 0 it is. Output waveform is always 0. It's not getting changed. Do you all understand, student? So this is my, let's say, case 1. The case 1 is I don't have any propagation delay. So how the output waveform looks like? The output waveform is always 1. That's why it's also called static 0. So see here, it's always 0. Okay, next. So let's say another case I am going to take. What is the case? So see here, the same circuit I'm going to take with the same circuit with different case I'm going to study here. Case number 2. Please try to understand. These are very important, whatever I'm telling now. Surely you can expect one question in any of the PSU exams. Okay, so the same circuit. Okay, if there is propagation delay, so see here, if there is propagation delay of 1 nanosecond in NOT gate, on NOT gate, and no delay in AND gate, Now how would be my circuit, students? So so how would be my waveform? I'm going to tell you. This is my circuit obviously, and it's connected to this NOT gate A. This is X, this is Y, this is the circuit. So here it are, if there is propagation delay TPD of 1 nanosecond, of NOT gate, but TPD is 0 for AND gate. Okay, so how would be my output waveform? So obviously my output waveform looks like this. So please check here. So I have already drawn this. So this is my A, 0 and 1. After that, so what is happening here? NOT gate, it's connected to the NOT gate with 1 nanosecond delay. So with 1 nanosecond delay means what I can expect here? So my output will be for X will be here, will come after 1 nanosecond. Okay, after 1 nanosecond. So what it would be looks like actually? So see here, I will be looking like initially it is 0. This will be after 1 nanosecond. I will be achieve. So this delay is here due to the propagation delay of the NOT gate. So 1 nanosecond. Do you all understand now how I have got this? Is 1, this is 0 now, this is as it is now. Okay, so obviously this is 1 nanosecond because of the propagation delay of this NOT gate. Okay, so my output get achieved after 1 nanosecond. Okay, now tell me how the output Y looks like actually here. So output looks like 0 1 0 here, and now here 1 1, both are 1. Here it is 1, here it is 1 up to this. Okay, am I correct, student? This is 1 up to this. So here I am getting 1, then after that again 0. Okay, so what I have got here, 0 for this nanosecond I got 1, after that it's 0. Okay, so what is this called? This is called static 0 hazard. Static 0 hazard. So what is static 0 hazard? You are expecting 0 completely throughout the output actually, but in some position you are getting just 1 nanosecond time or 2 nanosecond time inverted output 0 1 0. Okay, then it's called static 0 hazard. You all understand? So very important. What I have done here, because of 1 nanosecond delay of the NOT gate, I am getting here 1 nanosecond delay of the, because of this I am getting a unwanted output 1. So which is actually unwanted output. I was initially thinking I will get completely 0 waveform because my circuit looks like this, but because of this 1 nanosecond delay of this tau PD of NOT gate, I am expecting 1 over here at 1 nanosecond. So this is called static 0 hazard. So static 0 means I'm not getting static 0 now. Now there will be some unwanted change of 1 in the 0, static 0. Okay, so this is called static 0 hazard. Do you all understand? So it's very simple and very important. Okay, so I am getting in some nanosecond a unwanted signal which is not to be expected as per the waveform. This is not to be, as per the circuit, this is not to be expected, but because of the propagation delay of the NOT gate, I am getting one at particular nanosecond of one position, so which changes my static 0 to static 0 hazard. Okay, any doubt on this, students? So this is actually an unwanted change. We are not expecting any change. I am expecting this should be my output, but because of this 1 nanosecond delay due to the NOT gate, I am expecting few static 0 hazard. Static 0 hazard is nothing else, 0 1 0. Okay, 0 1 0 is actually the static 0 hazard. Okay, now we'll go move to the case number 3. Okay, so see here, what is case number 3? If TPD of NOT gate is 1 nanosecond and TPD of AND gate is 2 nanosecond, then how would be my circuit? Do you all understand, students? So see here, the circuit is same. How would be my waveforms? Sorry, the how would be my waveform? So this is my circuit. Okay, okay, and here it is your NOT gate. This is A, this is X, and this is Y. Okay, so what it would be? So it is having 1 nanosecond. Here TPD is actually 2 nanosecond. Okay, so how my waveform looks like? Well, how was the waveform looks like here? The waveform looks like actually here. So as we know that A is nothing else, A is like this. So this is my A, which is 0 and 1. Now here X will be, which is inverted output X. So this is my inverted output X. Okay, which is 1 and 0. Okay, but I'm expecting X like this, but what will happen? Because of the 1 nanosecond delay, my X is not like this. It will get after 1 nanosecond, there is change in the 1 to 0. Okay, so obviously what you will be do here, instead of this, my waveform, what it will be do, it will be get appear after 1 nanosecond delay. So here you see here, what will happen here, after 1 nanosecond, I can expect 0. So here, this one is actually my 1 nanosecond. Okay, so this is my X. Now because of this 1 nanosecond and because of this AND gate, now I have to do the output. Output Y will be what actually? 0 1 0. Up to this it is, up to this it will be 0. Am I correct? Up to this it will be, sorry, yes, up to this it will be 0. After that what will happen here? This is my after 2 nanosecond. So after 2 nanosecond means obviously from here after 2 nanosecond, this is 1 and this is 2 nanosecond. So after 2 nanosecond, I would expect a change in the output, this one. Okay, do you all understand? So this is my, this, because of this, it came after what nanosecond? After 2 nanosecond it will get reflected. So this is my 0, this is my 1 and 0. So obviously what is happening here, see here, this is my 1 nanosecond. So 1 nanosecond, after 1 nanosecond I will get the output here, but before that here it will be, the output will be present. So but after 1 nanosecond my output will come over here. Okay, output will come over here, but in the gate again there is a 2 nanosecond delay. So there will be 2 nanosecond. After that I will be expecting this output actually will come with 1 1 1, and after this there is 0 0 1 0. This is 0 always, 0 1 0. So okay, this is actually again after 2 nanosecond I am expecting this output will be having static 0 hazard. Okay, do you all understand this waveform how is actually? So initially how is my A? My A is like this. Okay, because of X of 1 nanosecond delay, I am getting the output change after 1 nanosecond. So this is my 1 nanosecond. Okay, next my output will be what? Output will be nothing else. After 2 nanosecond I will get output. Okay, so obviously what will happen after 2 nanosecond? I will be getting the output of from here. So this is my output 2 after 2 nanosecond. And how the output? Here there is a change actually. Initially my output will change over here as well. Okay, do you all understand now? So how actually the input will be? So my output will be again 0 1 0, so which is actually known as static zero hazard. Okay, do you all understand how the propagation delay takes into a part here? So one more thing I am telling here, the propagation delay whatever I am doing, this is 0 I am taking. Initially all are 0 here, so I am taking from here actually, students. Okay, here actually this is our reference line, not that one. Earlier I have drawn, not that one. So this is our reference line, this is our reference line. Okay, in this case what is happening, initially it is 0 and this is 1. Okay, so obviously initially before the circuit operation of it, x is also 0. So what will happen finally, what happen, I am giving here 0. If I am giving here 1, now I have given 1 will be get reflected after 1. What is the inverted output of 1? It is 0, but it is reflected after 1 nanosecond. So after 1 nanosecond I have achieved 0. Do you all understand? So this is my reference line. Okay, so next what will happen here? Next what will happen here? Also what will be happen here? Again I am getting 2 nanosecond. After 2 nanosecond I will be getting output, but here initially at x I am getting of 1 nanosecond of delay over here. Obviously that will be get affected to my output of AND gate. So after 2 nanosecond I will be getting output of only 1 for 1 nanosecond. Then after that it will follow this output 1 and 0 is 0. Okay, so this is called static zero hazard. So there are 3 cases I have taught you. Okay, so you can see here what is happening. This is after 1 nanosecond I have got. Because of this I have got static zero hazard. Okay, there are the 3 different cases. So mainly the hazard are categorized into 3 categories. Okay, what are those hazards actually categories? So see here, this is my static hazard, this is my dynamic hazard, and this is my essential hazard. Okay, essential hazard. Okay, so static hazard mainly occur in two-level circuit. Okay, very important point, student. I am telling. So dynamic hazard occur in multi-level circuit. Okay, multi-level circuit. The hazard will move here. Okay, dynamic. Sometime 1, sometime 0, like this. Okay, next occur mainly static hazard occur in combinational circuits. Okay, combinational circuit. Why? Because we know that static hazard is nothing else because of the logic circuits. Okay, because of the logic circuits propagation delay we are achieving some static hazards. Okay, and dynamic hazard is also comes in combinational logic circuit. In combinational circuits, okay, so which can be avoided, by adding certain redundant term. Okay, redundant term. Why? Because you have to make the circuit busy for that particular nanosecond of time. How will you make it? Just add few redundant terms to it, which is actually not there in my circuit, but still you need to add those things in the circuit. Okay, which actually avoid the dynamic hazard of the circuit. Okay, so mainly this static hazard is categorized again into 2 categories. One is static 1 hazard. Okay, and this is static zero hazard. Okay, so next, essential hazard. What is essential hazard? Occurs in asynchronous sequential circuits. Essential hazard occurs in asynchronous sequential circuit. I have not discussed these things, students, so don't worry, I'll tell you about this. What is asynchronous sequential circuit? Okay, hello, is it fine? Okay, so mainly essential hazard is occurred in asynchronous sequential circuits. Okay, and this essential hazard, is it fine, student? My voice is clear to you all? My voice, is it fine? Essential hazard, these hazards cannot be avoided but feels essential. Mainly these essential hazards you should not cannot be avoided. Okay, these hazards cannot be avoided. Okay, cannot be avoided, and it feels essential sometime. It feels essential sometime. Okay, I'll tell you about this, don't worry. It feels essential, that's why it's called essential hazard. Now how to avoid this static and dynamic hazard? You need to add certain redundant terms. Okay, some redundant terms you need to add to avoid this static as well as dynamic hazard. So what is static one hazard? Mainly static one hazard is occurred in end or circuit. End or circuit we have already defined. So what is end or circuit, student? SOP. In SOP form circuits, mainly static one hazard will come. Okay, in static zero hazard will be main occur in OR and circuits, which are actually called POS form of circuit. Okay, so do you all understand? These are mainly the hazard. Hazard is what? Mainly hazard is nothing else, the unwanted change at the output occurs, okay, due to the propagation delay or some essential asynchronous circuit delays and all will achieve some hazards. Okay, some output change which is actually not required, but it has been come actually because of certain propagation delay in the circuits. Okay, logic circuits. Okay, next we'll little bit study about the memory part also. So the memories. So in the memories, there are mainly two different type of memories. Just little bit, okay. We'll then again we'll move to the another part, and there are secondary memory. Okay. In the primary memory, as you know already, in primary memory there are two different types of primary: RAM and the ROM. So these are all very important. Okay. Next, what is secondary memory? Secondary memory is nothing else, some kind of semi-random memory, and serial access memory, okay. You just need to know all these things. Okay, that's why I'm just explaining what is RAM. Actually RAM is nothing else, random access memory, which is nothing else, it can read, that memory can help in read as well as write. Okay, but ROM is only read only. This is read only memory. Okay, from the memory you can read, with the help of memory you can write also. Okay, with the help of RAM, but in ROM we can only read from the memory. Okay, it is random access. Random access means what? Let's say my memory location is somewhere like this. Let's say this is my memory location somewhere. I want to access this positions data, I can able to access it. Okay, I can want to this access of data, I can able to access it. I want this access of data, I want to access, I can access it. Okay, this is random access. Okay, this also is actually random access. Okay, this is also random access, but here this is actually volatile. What is volatile? Volatile means if current goes off, the memory will lost all the data. Okay, if current goes off, then all the data which actually stored in the memory will be get actually totally erased. Okay, goes off. If current goes off, data erased, all the data will get erased. Okay, but here it is non-volatile. Non-volatile means if current goes also, the data will be get stored in that particular RAM. Okay, so this is mainly RAM is going to be used mainly in the temporary data purpose, only for the temporary data. Okay, and for the ROM it is mainly for the permanent data, mainly the all of you know that C drive, the BIOS. Okay, the BIOS of the system, and the system programs, okay, OS, all these things will be stored in actually in the ROM, read only memory. Okay, because it's non-volatile, if current goes also it will not lose the data. Okay, but here RAM is actually random access memory, and it's helpful read and write, and it's a volatile means if current goes off, data will be completely get erased, and this is actually the temporary data. Okay, so next thing is we'll move to the primary secondary now. Okay, in case of secondary, it's semi-random. Semi-random means you can say all discs, whatever the disc till now, DVD, CD, everything are actually the semi-random type. Okay, CD, DVD, SD, hard disk, anything, these are all semi-random. Okay, next, serial access memory is nothing else, the magnetic tapes. Okay, which are actually not using now. These are actually older things. Ferrite core. Okay, ferrite core, which are actually serial access, one after another only. If you want to read the data at position of memory location actually 48 into 2986 location, then you have to serially one by one you have to access, then you have to go to that particular position. Okay, so it's very slow. Okay, ferrite core. And some of the CCD. CCD means charge coupled device. Charge coupled device. Okay, sometimes these things will come up in the exam, student. That's why I just give a glimpse to you. Okay, some of the exams will come up and examples will be given, and they will be asked to you what type of memory is it. Okay, okay, all of you understand. Next, we'll little bit go about the RAM, because RAM is little bit important actually. Okay, so what is RAM actually? RAM is nothing else your random access memory. Okay, it's nothing else your random access memory. Okay, so what is RAM? You see here, each memory location, if m bits. Okay, each memory location, if each memory location if m bits are stored, then how much memory capacity? Then memory capacity is how much? Memory capacity is 2 to the power n multiply with m. Okay, each memory location if stores m bit of data, the complete memory capacity of the RAM is defined by 2 to the power into m. So how the question will come up? If the question will come up with n bit address, now tell me, is very simple. With n bit address, maximum number of memory location required is how much? 2 to the power n. Okay, 2 to the power n. Okay, so now tell me, if it is a 4, let's say 2 to the power 12 multiply with 8. So what it actually tells me? If it is a RAM of 2 to the power 12 and 8 bit. So 12 is nothing else your address line, and 8 is actually the data lines. Okay, so 12 is actually the address lines and 8 is actually your data lines. Okay, again RAM is actually divided into two categories, students. Okay, what are those? RAM is divided into two categories. One is actually static RAM, another one is dynamic RAM. So now the thing is, what is static RAM? It's like stored like a flip-flop. Static RAM is nothing else, it's stored like a flip-flop. I have not yet told about the flip-flop. I'll tell you. Flip-flop is nothing else, the cross connection of the AND gates or NAND gates or NOT gates, like this. These are all flip-flop. It actually nothing else, it's a 1-bit memory element. Okay, flip-flop is nothing else, 1-bit memory element, which is actually a sequential logic circuit. I have not yet started the sequential logic circuit, so no need to worry about that, how actually has been done all this storing and all. So I'll just tell you all these things. But in dynamic RAM, it is made up of actually capacitor, data stored. Here data storing is by the help of flip-flop. Here data stored in MOS capacitor. Okay, we will be going to study all these things little higher classes, students. So this is actually what, how the flip-flops will be like. I have told cross coupled. Okay, this is my cross coupled. Okay, so this is my cross coupled. Okay, so this is like a flip-flop. Okay, next, it's with the help of MOS. This is my MOS. Okay, the data will be stored in the capacitor. Here it will be stored. Okay, data. Okay, all of you understand? Very simple. Okay, so in the next class, so for this today, this much only, students. Okay, in the next class we are going to